What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dawg Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo. You can count on it, you pee-drinking crap face.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? Hey, we've got a fun show. Preseason week 3. We're rolling into that, but there's a lot of other news going on as well. Some guys got deals. Some guys got benched. Some guys are still fourth string. There's a lot of news to talk about, man, and a lot of it revolves around my Browns. But I mean, the storylines have been just going crazy all week. It's been nothing but talk of Shedeur and Gabriel. The quote that came out from Gabriel, what it meant. So, like, we're gonna have a lot of things to get into. It's gonna be a fun show. One last thing I have to do though, because I had to make sure I had it ready this time.
Uh-huh.
Only a matter of time, baby. Only a matter of time. Evo, my man, welcome in. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Ready to be done with this monsoon shift here very shortly, even though we're still getting the storm, so we'll see how that rolls. But yeah, tired of it fucking with the sleep schedule and the gym schedule. I need to get back to pumping some iron and some regular sleep.
Hell yeah. I can completely understand that. I have to get ready to go back to school. My kids went back to school today. So getting back on that schedule, it's gonna be super important because I gotta actually go and commit to Fit Boy Fall. I've lost some weight a little bit since like 6 months ago, but I've been holding steady at like that weight off. So I need to get back to it. Fit Boy Fall is coming around. My goal is to drop down to probably 210. 210 would be really nice again. It'd be super, super dope.
I would love to be 210. I mean, I got several inches on you.
Yeah, so I'm only 5'7", but listen, when I went to college on a football scholarship, showed up $185, 5'7", $185. So I would be very excited with 210. I feel like that would be a healthy adult man weight.
We're in our mid-30s.
Yeah, exactly.
It's acceptable. It's acceptable. Yeah. It's not an easy go, especially, we got all these military injuries.
No, for sure.
Don't help. And some of us were fucking in horrific car crashes, which doesn't help. So
a firm.
Yeah. But yeah, man, looking forward to getting back on the regular schedule for me. And we're going to be getting into a pretty regular schedule here pretty soon because we got 1 week of preseason left. It's actually starting right now. You got the Steelers and Panthers that are going to be going at it here to kick off week 3 of the preseason. And then we have a week off next week where you're going to be seeing a whole bunch of, cuts, teams getting down to 53-man rosters. This is a pretty big deal because there's been a lot of talk of trades, things like that we're going to get into today. Some trades were executed in the past several days, but a lot of teams are kind of waiting to see who's going to fall off the 53-man rosters. Can they acquire these players off of waivers? Who's going to make it to the practice squad? Things like that. Injury settlements, all that sort of stuff is going to be happening. So a lot of movement is expected to happen here within the next week as far as rosters, which can be pretty exciting for some teams that are trying to find those last couple pieces or some depth pieces and whatnot. And I know it's, like I said, for football junkies like you and me, live for this sort of stuff. So. And that's when we can really start getting into the bread and butter of the NFL season, when we can start truly getting into some of our regular shows, picks, things like that. Got a lot planned for next week. That's why, this week is probably going to be a little bit lighter. But next
very
week,
mellow this week.
We got a fancy football draft this weekend, so we don't want to be giving out too many of our picks or thoughts or anything like that, and kind of save that for next week's show when a majority of those fantasy drafts are probably going to happen because people want to wait on their drafts to make sure that they're not drafting someone who's injured. So
what kind of goon sets their draft before preseason is over, by the way?
What's that?
What kind of goon sets their draft before preseason is over, by the way? I don't understand it.
It's adults, man. Like, even for ours, we had to go back and forth. People are going on fucking vacations and shit like that. Like, people's schedules can't line up. The one biggest thing with fantasy football right now that I am disappointed in, and it's been a disappointment for years, is not being able to do the in-person draft. I haven't done an in-person draft with the group in such a long time because we're spread across the country. It's just not feasible. But I loved doing in-person drafts with my buddies growing up. It's always fun getting the dog on people who are less, in tune with football. And
right.
Oh, damn, 4th round, they just took a kicker. Adam Vinatieri. I know he's consistent. I remember that happened. That was always a fun time.
Hell yeah. I remember we never did it necessarily in person, like on a board, but we would do it in person in the same group in college with all my my college teammates. I think we did like a 10-man league, and we all sat in the same fucking room basically talking shit while we did it online rather than going through and having to do the process afterward.
Yeah, I never did one where we actually placed names on a board, but I have sat around a table, everyone sitting around a table with their laptops. I've done it at Buffalo Wild Wings before.
Yes.
Things like that. Like the most analog version was me going in with a stack of papers and sitting there and crossing names off as they go and circle them as I grab them type thing to actually show what roster I have built and everything. So that's the most analog, but I mean, shit. Time flies by. I mean, laptops weren't as easy as a thing back in the day.
That's
for us. It's crazy to think about. I'm talking high school here, and I don't think I had my first laptop until college. So this is crazy.
So yeah, I used desktop for the most part, and then at college is when I got the laptop. But I didn't really sit around with anybody like I had a desktop. I didn't have a fucking phone. I was one of those kids that didn't get a phone until got college. So I was stuck. But when I got that freedom and I went off to college and I had my laptop, crazy. I had to hopefully that thing is burned somewhere.
A lot of viruses, huh?
Burned somewhere.
Hey,
they don't call this show Dawg Sports for nothing, people.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and someone who likes to use their laptop a lot to write asinine shit is actually the sponsor of our show today. The show is sponsored by Dianna Russini. Do you like hearing from someone who doesn't know ball when they talk about ball? Do you like to hear takes from someone who parades around and saying they're a reporter, but they just pack bullshit that's fed to you or to them from agents and it's all verifiably false? And do you like to be treated like you're so stupid that you're just going to believe anything that someone says to you? Well, the person for you to listen to is Dianna Russini. She's like Kay Adams, except for she's not hot, she's not enjoyable, and she's very terrible at her job. So go ahead, watch Dianna completely invalidate the reporting done at The Athletic and tune into her Scoop City podcast when you aren't watching some other bullshit program like Colin Cowherd, where it's mind-numbingly asinine takes and bullshit that is, again, verifiably false in most situations. Dianna Russini, proving that you can truly fail upwards at any job.
That was clean, man. Dianna, thank you, Dianna, for today's episode. I'm very grateful for it. All the shit that I've seen you put out typically isn't this good. So that was also clean read, my man.
Look, I just like the content that she's provided, at least in the past week. Right. Did you catch her interview with Kevin O'Connell?
Yeah.
Having watched him over the past several years, he's usually a pretty likable, open guy. He likes to kind of joke around, kind of like he did with Kay Adams also later this week. Have a little fun time. It seemed noticeably tense during points of the conversation, and the awkward silence, especially at the end.
His face kind of just fucking. He wore it on his face. He didn't hide it very well.
Yeah, I don't know that he was necessarily trying to hide it.
That's
true. Same way that he didn't really hide it too well with Kay Adams. when she brought up Adam Thielen coming
Yeah.
back and how she wanted that. He couldn't help but fucking sit there and grin and be happy and have to say, oh, this is the first I've ever heard of that. Like, it's bad. Dianna Russini talked about, oh, I'm going to Minnesota. I'm probably going to catch a bunch of heat when I go there and stuff like that. Maybe I need security, and shows up and immediately has the one interview. And it's not a great interview because you can see it. Like, it seemed like one of those like Kevin O'Connell, which is very rare. He just didn't want to be a part of.
Right.
Because you're talking to someone who's claiming to be a reporter, who's talking shit about you, your decisions, your team, the entire offseason, and your guy that you selected to be quarterback with, again, verifiably false information and peddling all this Aaron Rodgers bullshit, which keeps on getting shot down, even from the team, being like, sure, yeah, we talked to Aaron Rodgers. We're not interested. And then she comes back and she's like, I think they really do want Aaron Rodgers. Cluck, 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 cluck. Like, she just can't help herself. And it's pretty sad because The Athletic used to do a pretty damn good job of, writing stories and reporting stuff like that. And there's still definitely good people at The Athletic. Alec Lewis for The Athletic tried his best to backpedal for her as the Minnesota beat writer for The Athletic, but it was tough because he took so much shit for that too, because he had to toe the company line. Because she's, one of the golden children there in The Athletic, being, the female reporter there or whatever. Like, it's sad, really, because she used to do a decent job in the past, and now she just seems like a corporate shill.
That sounds about right. I mean, I think that happens to a lot of people. Not our show, but I would imagine it happens to a lot of people.
But if we want to become corporate shills,
if you want to help us be corporate shills, you can go like, share, and subscribe over on our YouTube. It would mean a great deal to us because that's how we're going to hopefully turn this thing into making money. We don't want to take any money from you. We want to take it from advertisers.
Yeah, like Dairy Queen or fucking Pfizer or any of the other ad reads that we've done over the past several weeks.
Dude White, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, clap cleats or fuck socks, as they're affectionately called on this show, can still get an ad read anytime they want.
Yeah, I wonder how they're doing.
I don't know.
Maybe they should have taken a shot with us to peddle their wares, but it's not happening now. So
no. Oh man! So you brought up The Athletic, and I actually that reminded me of something, man. New article came out. Jason Lloyd kind of talked about the difference between Gabriel and Shedeur and what was going on between the games. A lot more pre-snap motion happened for Gabriel than it did for Shedeur. Pre-snap motion, good thing. Definitely helps young quarterbacks identify what's going on. So that's very, very interesting on the play calling there. And then, I don't know, I think the Next Gen Stats said that Dillon Gabriel had completed 3 of 4 tight window throws. I would assume that one of those that one incompletion was the fucking interception that he threw on a ball that he should have thrown 10 rows into the stands.
Pick 6, right?
Pick 6, yes. Yeah. And they rated that Shedeur, when he played in game 1, was 0 for 4 on tight window throws. Now, maybe I'm confused as to what the fuck a tight window throw is. But if you go back and watch, I would believe that both of his touchdown passes were tight window throws. So I don't know what's happening with that either. Like, there is going to be a lot of interesting reporting that goes around. Now, Dianna Russini, that we have so graciously has sponsored today's episode, is starting to gain a reputation as one of these people that will tell a story any way they want to tell a story, as long as it meets their narrative. I wonder how much more prevalent that is becoming. Because if you're trying to tell me that Shedeur Sanders didn't complete a single tight window throw in that first preseason game, I would say you didn't watch the fucking game. So I don't understand what's happening with that. Now, this is not the reporter Jason Lloyd's fault. He's just reporting what happened there with what in terms of numbers and things like that. Because he didn't make the stat. Next Gen Stats or whoever the fuck it was did.
Yeah, I guess I've just assumed that Next Gen Stats is relatively credible. It does make me wonder what their bar for entry to a tight window throw is. Like I'm
Defender
trying to think
within
back
1
to
yard,
like
apparently, is
what's
what I
that?
saw online. I saw Mac post earlier on Twitter or X that it's fucking defender within 1 yard.
Is that 1 yard of like the receiver?
Oh, I think it is within the receiver.
Because like I know at least one of those touchdown throws, it was tight window in what I would deem tight window, where he threaded it between two defenders
Exactly.
to a sliding receiver, but there might have not been a defender right there on the receiver. They were in the trajectory of the pass. Because I remember thinking like it's pretty good velocity. Maybe if those are starters, maybe they tip it, pick it, something like that on one of those touchdown throws. I mean, I would have to look much deeper into it to see what truly qualifies.
It jogged my memory. I was like, the Athletic. I just read that apparently Shedeur didn't complete a tight window throw, which doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, he's going to get the opportunity to do tight window throws because he's going to be playing quite a bit here in the third preseason game, sounds like.
Yeah, which I think is great. I don't know what's going to happen with Kenny Pickett because Kenny Pickett's apparently not going to play. But there has been multiple people with very credible. Adam Schefter on multiple fucking news sources has now said that the Browns are highly likely to maintain 4 quarterbacks on the 53. And if that's the case, I don't understand why. I don't get it, man. Kenny Pickett has no purpose here. He has not played a fucking snap in the preseason. He has missed weeks of practice. You know what? I know that they wanted Kenny Pickett to start. Fine. Guess what? It didn't fucking pan out. Joe Flacco should start. He's been the guy. Okay, he's been able to practice. He knows the system. He's a mentor to Shedeur for sure. And I imagine he does very similar things with Dillon. I cannot foresee Joe not being opening to Dillon just the same way he is to Shedeur. So Kenny Pickett is not a savvy vet that you need to mentor your young guys. We should figure out this third game. Is it fucking Shedeur or Dillon as the 2 and 3? And fucking trade Kenny Pickett to anybody that will take his ass. I'll take a conditional 7th to get anything back for the Kenny Pickett move that didn't work at all.
Do you think that it is at all the GM not wanting to move off a move that he made because it's kind of pie in the face? Kind of like the whole pie in the face situation of the ownership kind of coming in and telling you like, hey, draft him now, draft Shedeur.
I think that there's a lot of things there's a lot of pride on the line with this ownership group. Stefanski likes Pickett. Barry has been very attached to certain guys that he shouldn't be attached to. Guys that stayed on the roster when they shouldn't. Siaki Ika was fucking the perfect example of that. Like, because there is a little bit of that, worry that, oh no, they'll think I did it wrong. I'm going to get fired. Well, that's not, hopefully he's earned enough credit, multiple playoff runs. Jimmy Haslam has, kind of come out and said, hey, you guys are good. Like, just admit the mistake. Why is Kenny Pickett still here? He's taking snaps when he's healthy. And is he really the guy that you think I don't know the man. I don't know what he's like in the locker room. But is he a guy that you see as like this mentor to these younger guys? I'm not sure that he even knows what to do yet. He hasn't really been set up in a good. Last year is his first time. He's probably been set up in a good spot to see the way a quarterback is supposed to operate in his entire fucking career.
I wouldn't see.
Because you didn't see that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's still a young guy too. He's got very little, realistic NFL experience doing well or anything like that. I don't see him in a mentorship role or anything like that at all, personally.
I don't either. So I don't know why he's here. If we carry 4 quarterbacks, we're going to be missing out somewhere. And I'm telling you, there are some receivers that we got, some of these UDFA guys that I would fucking keep around in a heartbeat. I would keep damn near every single one of those receivers over keeping 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is an ego thing to some extent for a lot of these GMs. It's a tough look, but it's pretty obvious a lot of times. And it'll be interesting to see if you guys actually do keep 4 quarterbacks, because I think at this point, like you've got the savvy vet in Flacco that should probably be your starter off the rip. It's the safest play. You've got Dillon Gabriel, who the team invested in pretty highly in the draft, and someone GM head coach combo probably felt good about him. And then it seems like Shedeur came in and obviously was kind of forced by ownership, but he might have the most upside of that entire group. You can't let any of those guys walk.
Jimmy has come out and said that was not his forced pick.
Yeah, and the owners always tell the truth.
I know. No, for sure. I don't necessarily know that is the truth. However, he refutes it, and you can take Jimmy's word or not.
Yeah,
I take the word of the billionaire who scammed a bunch of truck drivers out of fuckloads of money.
Yeah. And look, that at the end of the day, I think that the prudent move probably is to move on from Kenny Pickett. I mean, Kenny Pickett is as good or better than a lot of different NFL backups out there. Not that he is all that great to begin with. Yes, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, though. That is a pretty fucking awesome accolade. But like it's a tough look, I believe, when the GMs do kind of stick to those guys that they figure are their guys, and it looks bad if they get rid of them, because at the end of the day, your wins overshadow your losses typically, and it's tough to move on from a loss if you don't allow yourself to get that win. So those UDFAs, those are wins. Those are guys that you didn't have to spend draft capital on and that you were able to develop in-house. And you're going to remember the UDFA on your team way more than that draft pick that you missed. Case in point, my Vikings, we drafted Russini in the first round. Terrible. And we moved off of him relatively quick. And that one definitely stings. It does get brought up quite a bit. But what gets brought up so much more is the fact that we have brought in so much UDFA talent that has actually done really good here. Ivan Pace, being one of the more recent ones in recent years, immediately came in and became a starting middle linebacker and is one of the better ones in the league. You've got guys like Gabe Murphy, who is working into a very crowded edge rush room and looking phenomenal in the preseason. We brought in a guy for a tryout who's probably going to make the squad as a defensive tackle this year, Elijah Williams, who has just been tearing it up this preseason, is like the highest graded interior defensive lineman on PFF through the entire preseason, and has looked fantastic from Morgantown State or some tiny fucking college or something like that. Like those, you're not having to spend that draft capital to get those UDFAs, and they're contributing to your team even if they're a backup. And to me, that's a bigger slam dunk than the fact that, hey, we took a shot on a first round pick or whatever pick, they failed. We had the wherewithal to move on from them and cut our losses and try to build our roster better. And that to me is what's going to be more defining for a GM and in a front office than if you keep slamming your head against the wall, a la maybe Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, so we will get to that very shortly. But I wanted to also bring this up because we've seen this actually happen. It's very rare. But imagine the 49ers are so invested, 3 picks deep, into Jesus Christ, I forgot the kid's name. Trey Lance. And they decide, no, we can't move off of him because we invested so much. That whole group's fired right now. The only reason that they are not fired is because they said, we made a mistake. And you know what? They struck lightning in a bottle by finding a guy in the 7th fucking round. Now, if you don't ever find the quarterback, it's still a problem. But if you can find a piece that works, no matter where you find him, and it works out really good, the successes will outweigh the failures, especially if you take accountability for the failures.
Yeah. And that's, that's a big part of it is, look, we still bring up Trey Lance with the 49ers. I know a lot of people do, but it's so easy to look over that when you do have a success like a Brock Purdy there in-house. Then, yeah, maybe Trey Lance turns out to be a decent quarterback. He's actually looking pretty decent this preseason with the Chargers, like a guy that was raw and needed some tutelage, and they didn't have the time to take the tutelage or couldn't didn't want to put up with the extra drama that comes from having a number 3 overall pick in-house while you're starting a UDFA instead of him. Yeah, it makes sense. And not only did you cut your losses, you got something in return by trading him away. And you probably can do the same with like a conditional 7th or something like that for a Kenny Pickett. But teams might be willing to sit on their hands and see, let's force them to fucking
keep 4.
Get to cut down day and keep 4.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and that's going to be really disappointing if that is the case, because we're going to lose a guy that I think should be on the squad. It will probably come from that wide receiver group. Just because there's a bunch of UDFAs there, guys that are unproven. I mean, Deontay Johnson, I don't think he might make this team. I wouldn't keep him on this team right now. I would keep at least 2 UDFAs over him right now. So I don't know what's going to happen if they keep 4 quarterbacks, but my guess would be it's going to come out of that wide receiver, and that's going to be a real shame.
Yeah. But one of the things that we kind of brought up just a minute ago, Daniel Jones has been named the starting quarterback there for the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson's going to be sitting on the bench as of right now. I can't take credit for this, but I believe it was Mike Greenberg who had kind of coined this. But Vanilla Vic might have to be pushed off to the side as far as little nicknames for Danny Dimes. Indiana Jones, and this could be his last crusade if he fucking fails in Indianapolis.
Indiana Jones is a fucking baller nickname. Who came up with that?
I believe it was Mike Greenberg. Credit where it's due, but I'd be remiss not bringing that up. But yeah, Daniel Jones is named the starter there in Indianapolis, and it makes a lot of sense because as far as traditional quarterbacks who can throw the ball and read a defense and things like that, he makes the most sense to have success on your team. Anthony Richardson, who I was extremely high on going into the draft process.
Yeah, you were ready to sell the farm.
Dude, he's thrown less than 800 passes since his fucking high school graduation.
Is what I saw what Orlovsky put out, right? 1,700 or something like that?
Something like that, but less than fucking 800 throws.
It's crazy.
Passes, not even snaps, since high school. And, I knew going into it that he was extremely raw, physically talented. We don't know about the mentals because we don't know about what sort of coaching he's realistically gotten there. But when you have a guy going out, a lot of it can be put on the player, for sure. Maybe they don't study. Maybe they're not smart enough to pick up stuff. But it was extremely and painfully obvious in that first preseason game that Anthony Richardson did not understand how to read the defense.
At all.
He
didn't know the protections at all.
And to me, a big part of that has to be on the coaching staff. Either you don't put the guy out there because he can't read it, or you aren't training him well enough where he can understand that.
I mean, that was a basic fucking pickup, man. And if you throw it into the blitz, throw the hot into the fucking blitz. You got to know it's coming though, which he never even saw it.
Right. And so that's the thing is I definitely fault Richardson for his failures, but I put a lot of it on the coaching staff and the team for starting him so early, for not having him prepared, and for not recognizing that, hey, this guy is not prepared to step foot on an NFL football field, and it would be a failure on us to put him out there. But they went ahead and did it anyways. And so since, being told that he's not going to be the starter, you've had his agent come out and talk about it's disappointing. We're not sure what our future is here and stuff like that. So the wheels are already starting to turn there, where we could see him be the next kind of Trey Lance type of guy, where they gave him.
Are you getting ready to hop on the KOC quarterback rehab train to get Anthony Richardson up to Minnesota finally?
I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Look, for whatever reason, I again was very high on Anthony Richardson through the draft process because I saw the physical tools and everything, and you think, hey, we got the next Josh Allen, Cam Newton type prototype possibly within this guy, if you are able to milk out some of the football IQ and accuracy and mechanics and stuff like that. And KOC has been the one to say organizations fail young quarterbacks for quarterbacks fail their organization. And there's the comic clip that goes around after the end of Vikings Colts game where we won And KOC goes up to Richardson, he's in his ear and he's mic'd up and he's like, hey, I think you're awesome. Keep, grinding. Like, there's a good quarterback in there. Don't get down on yourself type thing. Yeah. Like, I think KO believes that he's got the talent requisite to play quarterback in the league, but it's going to take supreme coaching in order for that to happen. Would I like Richardson to come to my Vikings? I'm not trading much for him if that's what has to happen.
Conditional fifth, or no? I mean, maybe a fifth and a conditional sixth pick swaps.
But that's even like pushing it for me. When the guy's probably going to get cut if he doesn't get traded by next season. Like next March, we could be looking at Anthony Richardson as being a free agent. The thing is that what worries me is I do want our focus and our primary goal to be to develop JJ McCarthy, and bringing in Richardson. I wouldn't feel good as him being our primary backup this year. I would still want either Sam Howell or Max Brosmer to be the primary backup. Richardson takes that third spot and basically sits for an entire year, and then hopefully we don't devote too much resources to his development early on. And if we're not going to devote those resources towards development, kind of what's the point in bringing him in? You know, yeah. I would like our full force of development possibilities to go towards JJ. So like it's a little bit of a double-edged sword if we were to bring him in, but I would be intrigued by the upside and to see what KOC could do with him. Because at the end of the day, McCarthy is our guy going forward. That's the one that, like, the intent would be for Richardson to never see the field other than the preseason, right? And so your hope would be, hey, we can develop him enough where he actually looks all of a sudden like a competent quarterback in the preseason, and now we can turn him for a pick. That would have to be the hope. But you know, at that point, you're kind of gambling a little bit. And I don't know that we're in a situation where we have to make that gamble right now.
Yeah. I don't think you guys are in that position. Now, I have been kind of paying attention more to Vikings Twitter. Vikings Twitter is a little up and down right now on JJ. They are, it feels like they're pretty wishy-washy in terms of, do they think he can get it done? Do they not think he can get it done? A lot of people are like, JJ should just fucking turn around and hand the ball off a bunch. Where are you at on JJ's development? Where do you feel like he's at? Is he on par with what you were expecting? I mean, because you haven't seen a lot of them.
Yeah, like, you know, obviously I was more critical of him in that one preseason game and the one drive that he had. Again, I didn't think it was bad, but I just want to fire off criticisms if I can, because I want to see the guy develop in the right spots. I'm very happy with how he's progressed to where he is. I think that he's going to be great this year still. I haven't seen that same sort of rhetoric on the socials towards JJ other than from outside entities, non-Minnesota fans, non-Minnesota beat reporters, things like that. Colin Cowherd, you know, obviously I talked a little shit on him as well. And he's had a lot of unkind things to say about JJ and the Vikings moving on from Sam Darnold and whatnot. But he gets his reporting on scouting for college quarterbacks and stuff like that from one guy. And the guy, old dude, escapes me who he is. And that scouting report that he had from the draft process was pretty bad from this one particular scout who he had on. Colin Cowherd had him on in the last week. That guy has completely flipped his script and he's like, no, I never said all these bad things. I never said that he was a low tier athlete with a low tier arm and blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, I think he's got a great arm and blah, 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 which is really weird because Cowherd has now completely reversed course and hasn't said like JJ's going to be great or anything. He's like, oh, I could see this guy being the next Brock Purdy and this being, you know, part of, they could be the next Kansas City Chiefs if he turns out. So like he's kind of hedging his bets, it seems like. A lot of the outside reporting, like I said, has come from non-Vikings reporters who aren't there on site watching his development, whereas most of the stuff coming from the Vikings reporters is glowing. And that's definitely gotten a lot of Minnesota fans going. Do we think that, and I say we, the royal we as Vikings fans, do we think that he should probably hand the ball off quite a bit? Absolutely. Like that's the best way to get a quarterback, a young quarterback in rhythm, get things going safer for him, not forcing him to have to pass. Absolutely, that's the way to do it. And then when you're going into the season with your number 1B receiver being suspended for 3 games and the depth behind them being really shaky, like, yeah, you're going to want to lean on the run game. Plus, you know, we just upgraded our running back room and the interior offensive line. Like, we're primed to have a good run game at this point. So you might as well lean into that and make things easier for the kid to begin. But in the same fashion, I think that he is a good, competent quarterback. We've seen through 2 preseason games last year and this year that he can sling the ball. He can make NFL level throws. He can make really good decisions. All the stuff coming out of camp from a lot of these veterans, including Aaron Jones, referring to him as having the football IQ of Aaron Rodgers, except for he's never played a snap yet. Like the glowing reviews from these guys on his team, I don't think would be coming because they're not forced. Like these guys are offering this stuff up, and I think that they're being genuine about it. Obviously, we need to see him put it together on the field, but I would assume that these players are being relatively genuine because they're not being said like, "Hey, does this guy remind you of Aaron Rodgers?" Or to recently departed from the Vikings, Harrison Phillips. Does this guy remind you of anyone from when you were in Buffalo? No, he offers that stuff up. He's like, he reminds me of a young Josh Allen, is what Harrison Phillips said. So, like, there's a lot of positivity and hope that I have seen in general from the Minnesota fan base. And obviously, most people are hoping and praying for the best for him because we haven't had a quarterback drafted as high as him. We haven't had a good, stable, well-developed quarterback from our own room since Dante Culpepper. So,
a long time.
Yeah. So, obviously there's a lot of hope there. I'm very hopeful. I'm not like I'm expecting an up and down year, but I'm expecting the ups to exceed the downs, just because I think the kid's got the talent to play the game.
I feel that. And you guys did upgrade the running back room. I wish, we tried to do the same thing. Tried to upgrade our running back room by going out and drafting 2 guys. Quinshon Judkins still not signed. And apparently the Browns are in search of additional running back help. And why we kind of talked about this before, and I put out what the fuck are they called on X now? I'm just calling them tweets.
They're still tweets, man.
Yeah.
We all know it's still Twitter.
Elon, don't throttle us, please. What the fuck was I just talking about?
You put out a tweet concerning Quinshon Judkins and possibly Nick Chubb.
Yeah, so if we have to give up more fucking capital, more draft capital to try to trade and bring in more running back help, I'm gonna lose all faith in Andrew Berry. And I like Andrew Berry. I've already lost faith in Kevin Stefanski after the article came out saying he didn't coach his goddamn quarterback. But if you could have signed Nick Chubb to a sweetheart deal, you could have cut Ford. The money would have been easy. You could have brought in maybe one rookie. Like, there are so many other things, like the draft capital given up to the running back room is just outrageous when you had an in-house guy who wanted to come back, wanted to be a Brown for his entire career. And that shit's not a common theme in Cleveland. And they let it go. I will be very fucking angry with Andrew Berry if we end up trading for a running back.
Well, look, don't play devil's advocate.
Nick Chubb is possibly going to start down in Houston.
Like you said, possibly going to start, but you also had brought up, before the show started, that you've seen some stuff about he could possibly be cut. I haven't seen that as well, but
injury.
Is there a world where the Browns, who know Nick Chubb and have their team doctors, know that this guy is not going to ever be what he was before, and it's time to move off from him?
No.
Not willing to accept that possibility?
Not yet. Not until I see him actually back and healthy. Because I don't think he was healthy last year. With that kind of knee injury, he didn't even make it back at the start of the year. Now, having got through this season, obviously ended up with, I think it was the foot or the ankle he ended up tweaking as well. So he's apparently very healthy right now. Looked pretty good in their preseason game. 5 carries, 25 yards, 5 yards a carry. That's fucking Nick Chubb. That's what he does. Now, granted, it is preseason. But I think he's going to have plenty of juice. And if the idea that you would let him walk, use a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick, and then potentially another pick on the running back room when you had an in-house solution, that is an egregious mistake as a GM, in my opinion. That is really fucking bad.
Yeah, I mean, you guys would be looking to what? Ryan Robinson Jr., who sounds like he is more than likely being moved. It sounds like, I mean, you already have coach there saying, yeah, we're moving, I believe it's Martinez to the goal line stuff or short yardage stuff. You've got.
Yeah, Bill, I'm pretty sure locked that job up, right?
I don't know that he's locked it up as a starter, but he's definitely making the roster. Because they have Eckler there as well, who's probably like the shoe-in to kind of be the at least early season starter. But yeah, Jaworski Merritt or whatever his name is from ASU didn't get to play. He's a rookie, didn't get to play last year because of some weird NCAA rule bullshit, but was good prior to that. So they took a 7th rounder on him. It allows you to move Robinson, who's an okay back. He's not bad by any means, but he's average. But at this point in time of the year, I don't know that you're having to trade a whole lot to get him. So if you're giving up a 7th round pick, I think that, or something like that, or a 6th round pick to get him, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, the Vikings traded 2 years in a row to go out and get I can't think of his name now, running back for one of the Rams and then the Saints and so on and so forth. And he's a league average back, and we were giving up like a conditional 6th for him or something like that, a conditional 7th. And I think that's probably around the range that realistically teams should be looking to trade for a Robinson, because if he doesn't get traded, they're going to cut him. It sounds like it's mutually agreed upon with the team that he should go somewhere else.
He'd like to move on.
Yeah. So I get where you're coming from for sure. I feel like you might have some Nick Chubb blinders on because I know you love the guy, and I get it.
Absolutely.
I get it. And I want to see him succeed and do well there in Houston. And the stuff that I've seen is that he looks not to be his old self by any means, but he looks to be good. And he's going to fit into that, role while Mixon is out as a starter down there, it sounds like to me. So, would you have preferred to keep the guy that in-house? Yeah, probably, especially if it is that sweetheart deal that you're talking about. But maybe there is information that the Browns know. Like, this guy is never going to be the same. He's on a downward trajectory, something like that, where sometimes you have to make tough decisions. Like, my Vikings made a very, very tough decision yesterday to move on from Harrison Phillips, who has been a locker room leader for our team, our team captain, great in the community. And he has been the best defensive lineman that we've had for the past several years, albeit that was a pretty low bar to exceed, because we haven't had great defensive linemen for the past several years. But we ended up trading him to the Jets yesterday, and it's a move that a lot of Vikings fans aren't happy with. And myself, hearing that we had moved on from him, I did not have positive feelings about it at first until I kind of dug a little bit deeper into the nitty-gritty of it. Like, it's better to move on for some of these guys who are nearing an age cliff, who are holding back potentially rookies and UDFAs or younger guys from getting to have more playing time and development time. And, we did this with Eric Hendricks. We let Danielle Hunter walk, which was scary as hell because he's one of the best defensive ends in the league. And then we replaced him with a Jonathan Grenard, who's younger, cheaper, and putting up just as good of stats, albeit a slightly different position, but still an edge rush. And now we don't think about it twice. So sometimes you have to, it's a brutal business world with it. And us as fans of our teams, we get locked into some of these guys. I was locked into Adrian Peterson. I never wanted to see him leave, but when we let him go, it was the right move at the end of the day.
I don't know that it is the right move yet. We don't know that yet.
Look, if Quinshon Judkins didn't have the legal issues previously, I think it was absolutely the right move up until that stuff came out. Bringing in a Quinshon Judkins, bringing in Dillon Sampson. That was the right move. Those guys are young, flashy. They have a ton of upside. Like, I thought you guys hit a home run with those two guys at running back because I thought you needed running back help. But the Quinshon Judkins situation completely changes everything because it's tough even in a fantasy football perspective. That's the one fantasy football thing I'll try to talk about today is Where do you draft Quinshon Judkins? Because he's not signed with the team. He hasn't gotten the practice reps. Sometimes it takes rookie running backs a little bit to actually get their stride. And is this going to be holding back his development on this team if and when he makes it onto the team? You know? So like have the foresight for that stuff is extremely difficult. And I don't necessarily fault Barry for letting Chubb walk in this situation. You know, hindsight's 2020 now, but at the time, I feel like it was the right move.
Kept Ford.
Yeah, Ford's also younger, and
no, but that's
a different role.
Chubb should have been here, and Ford should have gone.
We'll agree to disagree.
I have a soft spot for Nick Chubb, man. He's like one of my all-time favorite fucking Browns.
Yeah. So, look, I was devastated when Jared Allen left my Vikings.
Yeah.
But he almost, wasn't the same either when he left. He sucked balls seeing him on the Bears. He wasn't good with the Bears.
Yeah.
He wasn't good with the Panthers.
Listen, at least Nick went down to Houston. If he'd ended up going to fucking Pittsburgh or fucking Baltimore, I'd have lost my shit.
Yeah. That'd have been a tough one.
That would have been real tough.
If AP went to the Packers or Jared Allen went to the Packers, I would have been upset.
Or if Aaron Rodgers went to the fucking Vikings.
Yeah.
Like Dianna Russini said.
Didn't have a fucking snowball's chance in hell. Any competent person could have figured that one out.
Yeah. Let's talk about a cool story before we get the fuck out of here, man. It still revolves around the quarterbacks and a backup quarterback at that. We've talked quite a bit about backup quarterbacks, backup level quarterbacks. But this is a cool story about a backup quarterback. Tyson Bagent has signed a new contract, 2 years, $10 million, and it is fucking life-changing money. We talk about some of these deals that these guys get like it is, okay, it's not bad. That's about where he should be in terms of the range. But when you think about it, and what this money and all of this work that these people have put in does, $10 million is fucking exceptional. And that moment that he has at that press conference kind of was one of those moments that brought everything back into like, okay, these are people. It makes you feel it's so awesome seeing him overcome with the emotion because now he's done it. He has fucking made it. And he's a backup who's only going to get $10 million. But he has fucking made it from where he was. So I love the fact that he was willing to be open like that. And I think it's cool that they fucking re-signed him. I mean, he played well for him. This guy put up fucking insane numbers in college.
Yeah, look, he's a backup quarterback. He's shown that when he's on the field, but he still has a little bit of a spark. Like, he's not a bad backup quarterback by any means. Your traditional backup quarterback, most of them in the league, were former D1 level starters at their respective college, and they don't have what it takes to be a starter in the NFL, but they can be that backup role. He came from a tiny college. Like, he brought up, his dad didn't have running water growing up. He didn't have the opportunity for the NIL deals and all this shit that the guys have now. $10 million is generational life-changing money. Yeah. Like, yeah, if you're talking about, I have a 6-figure job, it will take me 10 years to accumulate that sort of wealth, except for you start to factor in all the different shit that comes with that, right? That's just to get $1 million. But all the shit that factors into that, like, you have to pay for your daily life stuff. So really, it's not a 6-figure job at that point, right? Getting all that money in as short of a time period as he is allows him to do generational life-changing things for his family, investments, things like that. He can set himself up and his family up for the rest of their lives for multiple generations. And it makes complete sense why that is an extremely emotional situation for a guy who, by all accounts, has been a good team player, a hard worker, someone who has grinded to get where he's at. And so you like to see that. You like to see those guys get rewarded. And it's not like they didn't break the bank for him, but for him, it broke the bank. It is life-changing. And so it's awesome to see. Don't like propping the Bears up any more than I have to, but like, it's good to see that happen for a good guy.
Yeah. Whatever with the Bears, but super pumped for Tyson Bagent, man, because like you said, it is because you get it all right then, you can do so many things. It's so you can change your entire family's perspective and life for generations. And you know, I doubt that Tyson has kids. He's young as fuck. But if he does have kids, I mean, setting that up for them, you understand that need, that desire, that want to of being able to set things up for your boys when provide. And now he has done that to a standard, to a level that he probably never thought was possible. So congrats, Tyson. I mean, keep balling, dude. I mean, keep making rosters.
Yeah. Now, I would be remiss to not bring up two things that have kind of happened in the football world recently. One, congratulations to Roberto Gussolini. He tried to make a trade with me yesterday. He tried to play GM of the Eagles with me yesterday. And I'll go back into our text messages here. He's really looking for defensive back help, which apparently I'm kind of blind to. I assume that their defensive backfield is doing really good, but he's talking that they don't really have a cornerback two there that they feel confident in. They did just trade for Jacorian Bennett, I believe, from the Raiders, but he hasn't looked too great. So Goose said that he wanted Isaiah Rodgers back. He was pissed at how he didn't resign him and that the Vikings signed him. So he said that he's willing to offer up John Mechie, who just got signed by the Eagles, for Isaiah Rodgers straight up. And of course, you'd never take the first offer, right? So I countered back and I said, give me A.J. Brown, Tanner McKee, the backup quarterback, and I'll give you Isaiah Rodgers, Sam Howell, and a second-round pick. And he said that if the Vikings threw in Blaze Sheik, our new dancer, that he would consider it. And I said, if you want Blaze, I'm changing my pick compensation. That drops it a little bit. We're talking about, previously maybe you could have swindled me into throwing in a 6th round pick with my stuff. Now you're not getting that 6th, right? Because Blaze is sticking with the squad. But now that offer is probably off the table because the Philadelphia Eagles showed off their 3 new male dancers today. So congratulations to Goose and the Philadelphia Eagles in that effort, joining in with the rest of the squad and the rest of the NFL and putting out their male dancers and whatnot. But a little bit more on the home front for me. I brought it up. We've got receiving depth issues with Minnesota, and it felt like yesterday's move of moving Harrison Phillips not only allows us to play some of our younger defensive linemen who have been showing off really well in camp, but it frees up a little bit of cap space this year, about $10 million in cap space next year, which is necessary because we are last in the league right now as far as cap space for next season, which will be fixed, I'm sure. But it felt like a move where we get a 6th round pick back. It doesn't seem like a ton for a guy who's going to be a good run defensive starter, but it probably is part of a deal in order to sweeten a trade package to go out there and get a wide receiver. Again, a lot of reporting about the Vikings and some other teams. The 49ers were originally talked about as a team wanting to go after another wide receiver. They make a move yesterday for Sky Moore from the Chiefs, which I'm glad we're not in on. Vele got traded from the Broncos to the Saints, so that possibly takes them off the board. The Vikings are targeting another backup wide receiver, someone to step into Jordan Addison's role while he's suspended and possibly the number 3 spot going forward. Brought it up before. I want Adam Thielen back. He's not playing tonight. I feel like they're not playing him tonight despite playing some other guys who are going to be out there starting like Jalen Coker and Hunter Renfrow. I want Adam Thielen back. Adam Thielen, I think, wants to come back. We saw the Mary Kay interview where she says she wanted Thielen back in Minnesota and KOC couldn't help but grin. I think that he's kind of the perfect fit. He's been practicing with JJ McCarthy in the offseason. He's a Minnesota guy. He's a Minnesota legend because he came out of my alma mater, Minnesota State Mankato, and came in as a UDFA and became one of the better receivers in the league. He is 34 years old, about to turn 35. He is old. He's not going to get the yards after catch like he used to. But one thing that he did show still in Carolina was that on a bad offense with a quarterback who's questionable, he's still catching over 75% of his targets. He's a very good red zone threat. He knows our system. He knows our quarterback. He would be an easy plug and play. And then you don't have to have any sort of weird drama when Addison does come back because Addison's going to be higher in the depth chart. And I think that this is a guy that we can go out there and get for a couple late round picks, a 6th and a 7th or something like that. Like I want to see that move happen. I think that move or another move will happen here within the next week in order to bring in another receiver. And then if we really want to shoot the moon, they got brought up a bunch yesterday, and the Vikings names have now been thrown in the circle for Terry McLaurin. That one scares me, not just because of the name, but like that is a very, very we are all in for this year type of move. And that is a huge gamble because obviously Scary Terry wants a new contract. We have Jordan Addison's 5th-year option right now, and his new contract coming up next year.
He'll get
and
traded.
We already have cap issues, right? Looking into the next season. Again, a lot of guaranteed money that can be moved around. The Vikings podcasters section have already talked about that quite a bit that I've viewed, and we're going to get cap compliant very quick by restructuring deals. But it's still scary to make that move. And how do you get 3 of those guys of that caliber on the field at the same time, plus a TJ Hawkinson? And at that point, you're also really signaling this is still going to be a heavy pass team, and JJ McCarthy isn't going to be handing off the ball a whole lot. He's going to be slinging it around if they were to make that sort of move. I don't think that'll happen. I think that is the wild possibility. There's still talks of OBJ or something like that because he's got the history with KOC. I just want Thielen back, man. It feels like such a perfect fit. I hope we make that move happen.
Yeah, I think that is probably the most likely. Scary Terry would be insane. I don't know what Washington is thinking, why that deal's still not done. If they move him, I think that they have really fucked up. But that is it's more and more contentious by the day, that relationship. So I don't know how that thing's going to shake out.
Look, 3 really big contentious battles out there still going on. Obviously, Scary Terry. Then we have the Bengals with Trey Hendrickson, who was out there and talked to the sideline reporter off broadcast saying, we've agreed on years and numbers, everything except for the guaranteed money. Like they won't come up on the guaranteed money where it needed to be. And so it's the Bengals still kind of dragging their feet on that. I think that they absolutely need to make a move to bring him back in because obviously that defense is really rough and
they're awful.
It would be tough for Joe Burrow and company.
This defense is worse than it was last year.
Yeah. And then news comes out today through an interview between Michael Irvin and Jerry Jones about Micah Parsons. And Jerry says that a deal has been worked out and negotiated with Micah Parsons. Now, there's some reporting earlier that, Jerry and company like to bring the player in on their own, without a lawyer present, essentially, to negotiate for him and work out a deal. And Jerry says that the deal's done. The numbers are there. And they sent the contract over to Dave Mugoletta, agent for Micah Parsons, and Dave Mugoletta said you can shove the deal up your ass,
which is exactly what a good fucking agent should do when you deal with the client directly and not the fucking agent.
Absolutely. And that, I think, is Jerry trying to swing the public perception in his favor as much as possible. But the reality is that the deal has to be done by the agent and authorized by the player, not the other way around. Because that's how players get into bad contracts. And Micah Parsons being one of the best defensive ends out there, he's got a good agent. Dave Mugoletta is a good agent as far as getting deals done for their clients, and he ain't going to let that fucking fly.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they are still at that kind of impasse there. Trey Hendrickson at that impasse, and Terry McLaurin also at an impasse. It's real interesting because we've got 3 premier players out there who are in limbo.
Yeah, those are all Pro Bowl, all pro type guys. So there's still a lot of things to be shaken out. We got preseason games still going on. I don't have the score up right here.
Yeah, it's at I believe Pittsburgh just threw a touchdown, but it's at commercial break right now.
Yeah, 7-3 Pittsburgh. So yeah. So everybody who's tuning in right now, there's quite a few of you. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you coming rocking with us. Mo, we saw you hop in here. Appreciate you, big dog. I feel like we might have a lot more Colorado fans that are starting to become familiar with us. That's that last video, that last short that we put out, quite a few views. Hello, everybody. We're fans of Shedeur. Evo is a little bit of a hater on the watch thing, but
I'm not sold. Look, I'm not sold one way or the other on Shedeur. I need to see it on the field first.
I know. Listen, You are a Vikings fan, so you are not all in or all out on it. You don't have a dog in the fight of Shedeur. Like
I am
Browns
unbiased
fans.
as much as possible.
Yes. So, but if you guys are new to the show or Colorado fans, what's up? Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Like, share. Yep. Go ahead, hit it, Evo.
Please like, share, and subscribe. We would love to have you join our community and our family here at Dawg Sports, where we try to hit you with as much Rawthenticity as possible. You can go on TikTok or wherever and talk shit on us. We love it.
Yeah.
Look, we aren't trying to toe the company line of all the takes that you're always going to be hearing on your ESPNs and other big market media and stuff like that. We're just two fucking dummy thick idiots who are former military veterans that like to talk sports, and we have some bad takes sometimes. We got some good takes sometimes. Like, we like to celebrate when we get them right, and we absolutely will dog on ourselves when we get them wrong, because we get it wrong plenty. And you're not going to get that sort of Rawthenticity from fucking ESPN. Definitely not going to get it from Dianna Russini or Colin Cowherd. They just like to peddle the same bullshit over and over again. And that's a podium that we definitely like to stand on.
Shout out Dianna Russini for sponsoring today's episode once again.
Absolutely.
Guys, no matter where you are, no matter where you're watching, thank you very much. I am Mike. That is Evo. This is Dawg Sports. Before we get out of here, I'm going to give my man Evo one last word. Hit him.
All right, everybody. Strap in. One more week of preseason, and then we get into the real deal. Start setting some money aside, because we're going to be gambling. Stick with us. We got a pretty fucking good track record.
We do. So 2 years ago, when the bets were money lines or spreads, we were I was at like 59%. I think you were at 63%. Last year we went spreads only. You were killing it all the way up until the very end. You had a slight slip back down to 49.5. I went 53%. This year, we've decided we are going spreads, money lines, over unders. Any one of those three bets you can get from us. We're going to break all three of those things down. Those are the options that we'll give you guys, but we'll be bringing you guys some special parlays as well. All of our gambling content coming very soon. As soon as football season kicks off, we're gambling. Scheduled tentatively right now will be Tuesdays for recaps, Saturdays to gamble. But man, I'm excited. Thank you, Evo. I'm ready for this fucking football season to kick off, brother.
Yes, sir. Ready.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you very much. I am Mike. That is Evo.
Listen, our little red rockets are hard right now for this shit.
6 to midnight, baby. 6 to fucking midnight. All right, we're getting the fuck out of here. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.
Dude.